Warning: this video contains references to holidays that have passed. As the script was written before Christmas, but produced after Christmas, we ask that you pretend that this video came out 3 weeks ago. Thank you. And Merry Late Christmas. And a belated New Year. Hello, and welcome to our second annual Oops, My Bad video, where we go through some of the mistakes we've made throughout the year, and correct them for the record. So let's journey through a year of mistakes, and perhaps stop by for a few fun facts given by our wonderful commenters. Before we start, don't forget to check out our Discord, our coffee page, and like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell, all the things. It really helps us out. Let's start off with pronunciation.
Errol Flynn.
Errol Flynn. A swashbuckler to all, a tongue twister to some.
Don Amici.
Don Amici.
Betty Grable.
And Betty Grable.
Beaumont.
Catherine Beaumont. Moving on to photo mistakes. This photo is of Marilyn Monroe, not Helene Stanley. Also, this is Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe. Not really related, but I think she did a pretty good job in Blonde. In the Verna Felton episode, these photos are of her son, not her husband. According to IMDb, her husband, who voiced Pluto for a short time, looks like this. For this Eleanor Audley comment, the only two photos that I can't 100% confirm are these two. But I also can't confirm that it's Jane Croft. If anyone can help with this, it would be appreciated. And dates that we got wrong. Jim Cummings was born in 1952, not 1953. Off by 1. Not too terrible. Eileen Woods was born in 1929, not 1926. Off by 3, little worse. But hey, that's our bad. And Crusader Rabbit was produced in 1959, not 1939. Okay, 20 years, yeah, that's rough. Welcome to the General Fact Corrections segment of our show. We need to come up with some better names. Also, disclaimer, we will not be doing another correction episode for butchering these usernames. Sorry in advance. Apparently, stop motion and claymation are different. According to Louise Orozco P., Claymation is a brand from Will Wheaton's company. Either way, it shouldn't have been called Claymation because the movie didn't use clay. They used latex silicone and resin. So interesting. Thank you for the info. We will be scribbling on the back of our hand, Claymation equals clay, which should help in the future. Daniel Gudino Juarez and Fridu both pointed out that in this clip,
money hands and money feet, made of money, my rich Uncle Scrooge. Still please take us.
It is not Russi Taylor speaking, it's Christina V. Wow, such a good performance. Russi voiced Donald in this episode of DuckTales.
I say go, but you say stay. You can't tell me what to do. Don't understand a word I say is so furry on you!
Uncle Donald?
Who are you? How much did you hear? Did you like it? Answer me!
A huge mistake here. Tony J did not provide the narration for the South African radio show The Avengers. Instead, it was Hugh Rouse. So this wonderful performance should be credited to him. Thank you, Beverly.
There stumbled a tall, spare, bespectacled young man. He appeared to be almost exhausted. He stumbled and stopped. He took his spectacles off to wipe them. The sunlight flashed onto them. The flare of light reflected into his eyes, and a voice said,
Guthrie! Guthrie! Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Guthrie?
Guthrie wheeled round. There was no one there. No one at all.
The Avengers.
Soj King Firebird Star points out that Jim Cummings voiced AC in the California Raisins, not Rudy. This has been a mess to confirm. You see, the Wikipedia page for the Raisin says he performed AC, but IMDb says he performed Rudy Bagman in 3 episodes and doesn't list AC at all, but goes on to credit him as AC in the sequel. I even went to the credits of one of the episodes, and I get this. What is this? Not helpful, that's what it is. So I think we'll leave this as he did voice AC, and he may have voiced Rudy in 3 episodes. I don't know. If anyone has Jim Cummings' personal phone number and address, betray his trust and send it to us so we can get this sorted out ASAP. Mark Raymond says I missed a fascinating fact. Vincent Price was the original English-speaking voice of the Phantom in Phantom Manor at Disneyland Paris. Yes, we missed this, but on the plus side, we get to talk about Vincent Price again. It's a Christmas miracle for our script supervisor, Adam.
And notice this. This chamber has no windows and no doors, which offers you this chilling challenge to find a way out. Of course, there is always my way.
I'm not sure how we missed that, but there was a lot to sift through. During the 3rd installment of the Mark Davis episode, we joked that if he wanted to move away from the human form, then he shouldn't have skipped out of Lady and the Tramp to do Maleficent. Thomas H. Smith points out that Mark's motivation was more to move away from the main character, and this was his big chance to tackle a villain. And we are so glad he took that chance.
You weren't wanted. Not what? Oh dear, what an awkward situation.
Dylan May points out that Art Babbitt also animated Bongo from Fun and Fancy Free. This would have been a little before he finally left to work for UPA.
Then came the dawn.
The Animated Freak points out that we embarrassingly credited Tim Rice with writing the lyrics to Prince Ali. As we all know from our more recent Tim Rice video, Howard Ashman wrote Prince Ali. Tim Rice only wrote One Jump and A Whole New World. Now, excuse me while I go hide in a hole. Paul Peterson corrects that Peggy Lee had another album on Atlanta Records, Mirrors. Eli Santon points out that Eric Goldberg did not animate on Superior Duck, but he did voice Porky Pig and Marvin the Martian. The animation shown was actually animated by Greg Duffel. Very interesting. One YouTube channel's misinformation is another channel's cool new fun fact. Moving from straight corrections to questions, we start with Brooke, who asks if Sherri Stoner was born in 1965, not 1959. Her IMDb page and many other pages say 1959. Only one source that I could find says 1965, and that's from deadorkicking.com. I'm going to lean toward 1959 for now until further, more solid info comes forward. Toyuki1 asks what this picture is. According to historicplacesla.org, it is Schonard Institute of the Arts, but it doesn't look like some other pictures I've found, so I don't know what's going on. But let's just pretend I used this image. Time to learn some fun facts. Crepes of Time mentions that Conread appeared on an episode of the show Alice as the new owner/cook of the diner after Mel left. She goes on to share that he voiced the Ghost of Christmas Past on the 1941 version of A Christmas Carol with Ronald Colman as Scrooge.
Here now is the shadow of another Christmas. The boy is older, but the innocence of childhood is no longer in his face. There is a restless motion in his eye, and he wears the signs of care and greed.
Show me no more.
That girl who sits beside him, they're to be married.
Stop, take me back.
Listen, Ebenezer Scrooge, hear what she says.
Inciting a Riot shares that while Wynn worked with W.C. Fields, one evening, during a routine, Fields discovered Wynn under the pool table making faces at the audience. Fields cracked Wynn over the head with a pool cue. Ouch, many are saying. William Craig shares that Hans Conried and Dr. Seuss became good friends after they worked together on a few war propaganda films. He also suggests a book on his life titled Hans Conried, a Biography. This book just so happens to be on my Christmas list this year. Dr. Seuss Goes to War is also very good. And Matthew Hedrick Jr. points out a story about Sleeping Beauty I had never heard about. Listen to this, and bear with me for those who already know. There is a deleted song called It Happens I Have a Picture.
Now it happens I have a picture of my son at the age of 2. I don't like to boast, but yet he's the most remarkable boy I ever knew.
The song was originally going to follow the opening number Holiday, another deleted song, but for the final cut, both versions ended up getting deleted. Although a demo version of the song was recorded, it's currently considered lost. However, the original audition recordings from 1952 have survived with a dialogue version performed by Hans Conried as King Stefan and Bill Thompson as King Hubert.
Oh, come, Hubert, let's wait till the children grow up, get better acquainted. Perhaps they won't even like each other.
Oh? And just what's the matter with my Philip?
Why?
Why doesn't your daughter like my son?
Oh, but Hubert, I didn't mean
I'm not so sure my son likes your daughter.
Now, see here, Hubert, what are we saying? Of course they like each other. We like each other, don't we?
For the final film, Conried was himself replaced by Taylor Holmes for the voice of Stefan as his last film role, making it highly unknown who had voiced the Herald.
Your Majesty?
Yes, what is it?
Their Excellencies have arrived at the castle gates.
Oh, the fairy godmothers. Come along, Hubert. We must be there to greet them.
In their comment, Matthew contemplates whether the Herald was voiced by Conried. Very, very interesting. Discography's True Mysteries could very well be a spin-off. Henoch Gebrgergis brings up a very interesting story about the girl who was originally going to play Snow White, Deanna Durbin. Apparently, Walt said her voice sounded too mature, and so picked Adriana instead. More information can be found in the description. Henoch also tells us that Bill Cottrell directed, along with Wilfred Jackson, Ben Sharpstein, Larry Morey, and more, both The Wicked Witch and the Queen in Snow White. Fredo says that Lucy Laverne did the voice of the Mad Bomber in the Looney Tunes short Blowout.
A clock, a little dynamite, a black bomb, a few firecrackers, some lovely skyrockets, and you have a little time bomb that will blow up a city.
Nori Jean points out that Liz Calloway sang for Jasmine in the Aladdin sequels. Axel Jacobs writes that Eric Larson animated numerous minor scenes of Disney characters like the evil queen's hands turning into the witch. Larson also timed the scenes of the animals and their babies in the lullaby sequence in Dumbo. In Aristocats, he draws a ton of close-up scenes of Edgar's hands setting down the trays of his creme de la creme, and the alley cat's paws when they interrogate Roquefort. Phased out big time on Robin Hood, though. His last animation assignment was Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2, where he did scenes of Pooh and Piglet returning from Rabbit's meeting to get the bounce out of Tigger. He didn't do Rabbit. Thank you so much for the info. K.P. Delaney says that James Baxter animated a few scenes in Wolfwalkers, and Nolan Hewitt shares that Angela Lansbury was originally thought of for the role of Mary Poppins. Rest in peace, Angela. Matthew Clark comments that Quentin Flynn voiced Timon during the Timon and Pumbaa TV series, and also that Ernie Sabella was in the short-lived TV comedy series It's Your Move with Jason Bateman. Mark T. Yamashiro shares that during a showing of Cinderella, Eileen Wood's daughter jumped up and said, "That's my mommy," and two women in the audience said, "Isn't that sweet? She thinks her mother is Cinderella." Cute. Thomas H. Smith says Eleanor Audley actually gets to lay claim to voicing all three of the original Disney princess villains, as along with Lady Tremaine and Maleficent, she also voiced the evil queen in a 1949 audiobook version of Snow White.
Alas, she is more fair than thee, and her name is Snow White.
Snow White more beautiful than I? No one in the world can be more beautiful than I. Huntsman! Huntsman! Take Snow White into the forest and lose her there, so she will perish. Then I alone will be the fairest in the land.
Also, in that same audiobook, Snow White was voiced by another Princess Eleanor oddly tormented, Eileen Woods, the voice of Cinderella.
I'm wishing for the one I love to find me today.
And finally, Olds Vista Cruiser comments that one of George Brun's lesser-known pieces is Nation on Wheels, used in many films about highway travel. There are so many other comments that we wanted to include and talk about, but we just ran out of time. We did, however, correct all the mistakes that were brought up in the comments. We also had a great time reading all the positive comments. Thank you everyone for both the corrections and the compliments. We love hearing from you and learning what you have to add to our videos. Here's to only fun facts in the next one. From all of us at Discographies, we hope you have a great and magical new year. Thank you to these people for supporting us on Patreon and Ko-fi. And if you want to make sure this channel sticks around, you can check out our Ko-fi link in the description. Every bit helps. Thank you for watching this episode of Discographies. Click the thumbs up button below if you liked it. And if you want to be notified when the next episode comes out, consider subscribing and hitting the bell. Comment below with characters you would like to see us cover. Further reading and references are linked below. We hope to see you in another Discography.